Check, check, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Our scheduled ticket prices and promotions will be released in the coming weeks. Season opener is Thursday, April 9th versus the Salem Red Sox. More? You good?
All right, Darren, I'm setting this thing live.
Okay. Yep. Sound check. Sound check. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Press conference today. Check 1 2 3. 4 5 6 7 8 9. Levels 1 2 3. Good. All right.
Hey, Brett. Yeah, I just remember different things I've read. It's kind of off and on, but I know 1980 through now. I don't know who was before Durham though. See, they have. I don't know. I could probably ask John Hopkins. He might. Yeah, good to see you. Hey, Will. Hey, good to see you. A lot of good things about you. Thought you were going to get pizza. You kept showing me the television. I mean, yeah. Yeah, good. He helped with Carlos, Skip, and Sam last couple years. Helped Sean Carlos. Good. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks. Very good. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you. Glad to be here today. Hi, John Schroeder. Just waiting your podcast. Well, we're excited. We really are. I mean, right there in the heart of race country. Said so on the sign out there, so I know we're there. Yeah. I mean, no better parent than that. Well, this part of you like what you see. Yeah, we like what we see, and we hear it's going to get better, and that's going to be spectacular. Let's do video board. Yeah, that's the more I look at it, the more it's going to be fun. Hey, good one. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Our intro. Thank you. Town here. Glad you're in it now. It's hard to get excited about the Indians. Yeah, absolutely. Let me say this. I've been bragging on him today. Yeah, this is the gentleman in this ballpark. Yeah. I'm not sure this is the we have all iron Bob. Good. I like Bob. Hi, Bobby Cox. Hey, good one. Nice to meet you. Hey, I might have heard your name. I might have seen you tossed down there. I might have seen you tossed down that all? That's awesome. Few times. I've worked a long time. Hey, how are you? The Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah. A little bit harder to get. I don't know. World Series is hard to get.
At least you got it.
Yeah. You know, we were wrong. Yeah, we were just talking about that. There was a game going on. We're in the dugout on phone. If we win, we're going to get a ring. So we won and I got a ring. I went to design the Marlins ring. One of the records was had to be the largest ring in sports history. They told them, don't bring us a ring if it's not 60. And the one they ended up with is 6 years. You got to put it on 3 fingers. I say about championship ring, we always try to balance. Go ahead. You never know if you'll get to do it again. In that case, go ahead. Clear. Well, he's an art collector. What do you do? Yeah. Shall we dance?
All right, we ready? All right, we want to thank everyone for coming out to Five County Stadium today. Obviously, this is a very exciting time for both sides, and me personally, it's a great honor to introduce these men up here today. Before we begin this press conference, I would ask you to please silence or turn off your cell phones so there are no interruptions during the press conference today. And with that, I'd like to introduce these men you see up here right now. To my right is the principal owner of the Carolina Mudcats, Steve Bryant. To his right, the president of the Atlanta Braves, John Sherholtz, and the president of the Carolina League, John Hopkins. To my left, these fine gentlemen here, interim general manager of the Atlanta Braves, John Hart, Hall of Fame manager Bobby Cox, who was inducted this year, and the current manager of the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Gonzalez. At this time, I would like to bring up the principal owner of the Carolina Mudcats to tell us all why we are here today, Steve Bryant.
Thank you. The reason we're here today is pretty obvious. We're having a tribal council meeting because we have the three highest members of the tribe are here today. So it's great to have these gentlemen from Atlanta. We're here because this is Braves country. It's been Braves country for years. And when we had the opportunity to talk to the Braves and other fine major league organizations, it just kept coming back to feeling right that, you know, what would our fans do? And our fans would pick the Braves. And we also felt the same way. I mean, obviously there's many years of baseball at this podium. Some of the classiest men and some of the best records you'll have. That's the kind of people that Atlanta associates with. And that's the kind of people we wanted to associate with. Everyone we spoke with during the reopener was worthy and great. We couldn't have made a bad choice when you stop and think about it. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and I think the feeling's mutual. Hopefully it is. We look to be a Braves affiliate for my retirement years, many years from now, hopefully. And Mayor Matheny, you and I are probably going to retire about the same time, so you'll get to see him for a while as well. The Braves have a history of excellence at every level. They have a history of developing players, which obviously is the reason for the minor leagues, but they also have a history of teaching these kids to win. And winning is a learned experience, and all you have to do is ask a Hall of Fame coach like Bobby Cox, and he'll tell you his job's a lot easier when they get to him if they've had a little success and learned how to do the things you have to do when you're in the playoffs and when you're in a pennant race. It makes his job easier, and he made all the players look easier because he was such a great manager. I'm delighted that John Sherholtz is here, and I think you know, his record speaks for itself. Another potential Hall of Famer, I'm sure. John Hart, man, that's a 1-2 punch. I don't know that many teams could come up with when you do a Sherholtz and Hart. That's a double team that's really tough. So it's always good to see Freddie. Freddie looks like he could still play a little bit, and I'm sure Bobby would like to manage him if he could. But I want to thank you guys for coming out. We're really pleased to be affiliated with the Braves. And just let me say, because we reopened, it was not that we had any displeasure with the Cleveland Indians. They're a very class organization. They spoke very highly of our staff and of the fans here and of the town. We just wanted to see what the interest level was in baseball. It was our first reopener at the high A level, and it was our first opportunity to ever really talk to any other team. So don't get the impression that there was something wrong with the Indians, because they're a class group, and I wish them the best, unless they're playing us, and they will be. You know, Joe Kramer, our general manager, he and I have been together 28, 29 years. So I know he's excited about this affiliation. Next year is our 25th anniversary of being in Zebulon. I can't think of a better introduction to the 25th year than to have the Braves coming here. So I'm delighted. Our staff is delighted. Uh, it's funny how Brave stuff pops up everywhere. And I was coming out of the restroom the other day, and a couple of guys were practicing this, So we have to learn how to do that properly, not the Florida State way, but the Atlanta way. There's a difference. There's a difference. But thank you for your attention. We think it's going to mean great things for our attendance. I think we're going to get a lot of people that haven't had the opportunity to experience what we have out here. And while I want to thank the town of Zebulon and Wake County, because what we have out here is really nice, and it's getting nicer every day. And thanks to the hard work of the town of Zebulon and Wake County, it's going to remain this way, something we all can be proud of, and the Braves can be proud of. So hopefully this is the start of a very long relationship. That's what we're hoping it will turn into. And as I told John, when you care enough to send the best, send players. That's what would be good. There's a rich history with the Braves in the Triangle, which many of you know about. I know about it because at Double-A level, the same guys left high A and came and kicked our butts in Double-A. Guys like Chipper Jones, and names you'd remember right off the bat. And we're hoping to have that kind of success here with the Braves, and we're going to do what we can to make them feel at home and to put a championship team on the field. I'd like to introduce John Sherholtz, who needs no introduction, one of the classiest guys in the game, and I'm really glad to get to know him better. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, Steve. Thank you for those kind comments. And this is a very, very significant moment for us in Braves history. I've been with the Braves almost 25 years now. Had the great pleasure of working in partnership with our newest Hall of Fame member here, Mr. Cox. I was general manager, he manager, and it was one of the thrilling times in my life. And to Steve's point about the commitment to excellence that this organization has made, I think we've shown that. We've shown it consistently. And we will continue to show that here in Zebulon. When the circumstances developed, as Steve so aptly described, of this franchise affiliation shuffle, I'll call it, that occurs every 2 or 4 years in our business, we had great hopes of finding a very, very good place to remain in the Carolina League. We had notified our affiliate at Lynchburg that we were going to, as Steve did, go look to see what was available out there, and we did, and things started moving quite quickly. The landscape beneath our feet started to shift quite quickly, and one affiliation after the other was locked up. Cleveland was notified they weren't going to be here. They signed a quick affiliation with Lynchburg, where we were for many, many years, where we had played in the playoffs 4 of the last years in Lynchburg and won the league in 2012 there. And so we had to look. And this is where we wanted to be. We said, Zebulon is open. Let's do everything we can to affiliate ourselves in the heart of Braves country here in Zebulon, North Carolina, and get an affiliate there. And we were so fortunate that when Steve decided that he wanted the Atlanta Braves, we were thrilled. We're delighted to be remain in the league. We're delighted to be back in the Triangle. We spent, as Steve said, many years in Durham, and here we are, not far from there, and pleased to be here. Our organization has made a commitment. Scouting and player development has been the lifeblood of this organization. It's how we have sustained our great success and excellence at the major league level, and we are making a recommitment to that process again. John Hart, our interim general manager, will speak in a moment, and he and I and others in our organization are recommitting ourselves to that process as we enjoyed when Bobby and I were in partnership, bringing player after player through this organization, many of whom Bobby signed as general manager before I even showed up in Atlanta, and inherited that great beginning of a pipeline, and we tried to augment it and sustain it, and we did that. So that's what the Atlanta Braves are about. We're about the commitment to excellence. We've been called the gold standard organization by Commissioner Seelig since our great run has started 20-some years ago, and we intend to sustain that. And we have a great team. John Hart, Bobby Cox are here. Freddie Gonzalez, our manager. Chip Moore, our CFO, is in the back over here. Of course, Brad Hangy, our PR director, standing over here taking notes on all of this. But as a partnership, we could not have asked for a better one. We could not have hoped for a better place to be than in the Carolina League in Zebulon, North Carolina. And we are absolutely thrilled to be here and be your partners. Thank you all very much. I'm not sure who the next speaker will be. Perhaps the President Hopkins or John Hart. John Hart, our interim general manager. John Hart, who needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him. John was a great general manager with the Cleveland Indians and the Texas Rangers, executive of the year twice, now works for baseball TV, MLB TV, and is also a senior advisor for the Atlanta Braves this past year. And I've known him as my best friend in baseball. We were in competition with each other, but he's got great knowledge, great instincts, great integrity, and so now he serves as the interim general manager of the Atlanta Braves. My friend John Hart. Thank you.
It's always tough to follow a silver-tongued man like John, but in fact, when I came over to the Braves, it was tough because at a long time with the Cleveland Indians, I kept looking down on their fingers and I kept seeing that 1995 World Series ring that should have been ours, but ultimately it belongs to John and Bobby. But look, I listen. It really is special to come down here. This is the first time I've actually seen the ballpark here in Zebulon, and I've got long time history with the Carolina League. When I was managing with the Orioles, John Hopkins was the president of the Carolina League. I managed the Hagerstown Club for years when I was general manager of the Indians. We were always in the Carolina League. We had a terrific relationship with Kinston. Ran a lot of great players through there. It's always been a very special place for me. And I think to come down, and obviously you look at it for your players, the delivery of such a spectacular ballpark here at the A level is wonderful. And I think obviously in the DNA, as John mentioned, the DNA of the Atlanta Braves, as it has been for me, coming up with the Orioles and the Oriole way and going into Cleveland, the lifeblood of a great organization are the young players. And I think obviously it's incumbent upon us to put the type of talent here that is going to succeed. You always do the balance, and I know Steve and Joe have heard this for a long time. There's always a balance. You want to develop this player, and you also want to win at the same time. I've always been a very strong proponent of putting successful clubs, having great relationships with the affiliates. We're partners in this. I could not be happier after spending time with Joe. Obviously, John, I don't know if you read Joe's bio, but he has more Executive of the Year awards than you and I put together. And I think that shows certainly a strong relationship there. And we all are about relationships here as you go along. And I think, again, the DNA of the Atlanta Braves organization is about young players. And as I said, that I think our obligation is to put quality people, quality players, respect for the game. It's a chance. It's a little lost when you look at the TV and the big three-decker stadiums, that there's a little relationship lost between the fans and the players. But the great excitement, I think, is the relationships that are formed with the players and with their affiliates. And I think it's something that carries on. And obviously, there's a connection. There's a geographical connection with this wonderful franchise here and with ours in Atlanta. Certainly hope to keep expanding on that too. So we're looking forward to it. We're very excited to be here. Thank you.
All right, at this time we're going to open the floor to questions to the media. And again, we have John Hopkins with us, the Carolina League president. We also have Holtz and Steve Bryant. They'll be happy to take questions, as well as John Hart, Bobby Cox, and Freddie Gonzalez.
How much did the two things factor in the quality of the facility, the quality of the metro area?
How much? Yes. Equally as much. I mean, we've heard about this facility before we ever laid eyes on it. And as we pulled up from the airport today and pulled in, we were all astounded what a beautiful ballpark this is. And John Hart alluded to that. For this level of play to have a facility this grand, we're delighted. We take pride in that. We own a lot of our own minor league clubs, and we have first-class facilities virtually everywhere our players go as they matriculate up the ladder. And to know that this will be one of the stopping points for their development in this facility, in this great community, in this great league, we're delighted with that.
How important was it for you to have the Braves remain in Carolina?
Well, as Steve said, there are no bad choices out there. We're in the very fortunate position where more organizations want to join our league than we have places to put them. I was very happy that both the Indians and the Braves were able to stay with us. Those were two loyal affiliates. We've had the Braves continuously since 1980 and the Indians continuously since 1987. So I'm really, myself as a tradition-minded guy, I'm just glad we've kept our long-term relationships intact with both places.
To follow up on that, 36th season of the Braves will be in the league, I guess, consecutively. How much does it matter that most of the league is right in the Braves fan footprint?
Well, if I'm a minor league owner and I'm in the South, this is the affiliation I'm going to want. It's the organization that my fans can most closely identify with. And for that reason, I think any of our clubs would have been delighted to have it.
Mr. Schwartz, is the fact that you brought so many senior members of the organization here today sort of an example of how important it was or is for you guys to stay in Carolina?
Absolutely. We as an organization appreciate being welcomed in your community and to remaining in this league.
I noticed you guys were in the team shop as I walked up. Any reports on Carolina Mudcats swag you might have picked up?
I picked up a couple hats, and I didn't get the Sunday hat. John did.
I told them that they were well dressed, but they just weren't dressed well. So
We know we're with.
Does having that logo, it's really a popular logo across the country. Does having that help? I mean, are those things played back and make good choice like that?
Well, I'll say this. We think our logo, our organization logo, is fairly well known. But as it relates to minor league organizations, the Mudcat logo always ranks near the top of interest and purchase power, buying power. And so we're delighted to be affiliated with a team not only that has the ownership to excellence of play and facility, but to have a unique trademark like that. We think that's cool.
Gentlemen,
Bobby, you had mentioned before in interviews the quality of player that the Braves gets through their organization. Would you comment on that a little bit about the kind of player that is ultimately a Braves player in the major leagues?
Well, the kind of player, we kind of do it what we call the Braves way. You know, we play the game right. We're in the work of entertainment, really. It's what I've always told my players. And, you need to entertain the fans. And that doesn't mean you're jumping up and down and going crazy on the field or anything, but actually playing the game right, playing the game professionally, and entertaining the fans. And we've had a strong organization now for so many years that our development people have been some of the top in all of baseball. Our scouts have been right at the top all through Paul Snyder's years. I'm sure some of you know who Paul Snyder was. And, we've continued to put those kind of kids in our system and bring them through these types of franchises.
Including yourself. This is for both being former minor league managers. What do you think of a facility like this to be able to?
It's one of the best if not the best I've ever been in. It's been a long time since I've been in a minor league stadium, a ball stadium, but this is very, very impressive. Right from the very beginning, when you drive in, you see the field. I couldn't believe it. Where our players are going to come to work every day for 74 home games or whatever it is, and it can't be any better. I made a comment that the clubhouse that we have here is better than the one in Wrigley Field and in Boston. I mean, not even close. And I think our players are going to get spoiled. This is really, really nice.
Well, Joe and Steve have been great guides for us today, and their hospitality has been off the charts. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How I stadium, I don't know, but I missed it somewhere along the line. And I'm tremendously impressed with everything about the stadium, from the batting cages to the clubhouses to the, the field itself is. I don't know how you would find a better.
I want to ask a question, Mr. Hart. Also, tell us a little bit about the guys that you expect, 3 or 4 top prospects you expect might start the season here next year.
Well, I think right now that you want to take a look at the kids that have come out of Rome. There might be 3 or 4. There's a center fielder, Connor Lean. We've got a kid we're thinking about on the roster, Jan Carlos. Jan, that is a quality left-handed pitcher that has come back out off of Tommy John. We've got a young shortstop, Kamar.
Guys that were all hired by Bobby before John Sherrills even stepped foot in this organization over almost 25 years ago. So they've been here, and the reason they remain here is because they embrace that, and they teach it to their kids, and we like that. It's a reinforcement of the way we think players ought to learn the game of baseball, play the game of baseball, and compete for championships every year. That's why those kind of guys are still with us.
Is that a struggle, the balance between development and winning? How do y'all manage that struggle?
Well, it's a struggle. It's a struggle, especially for people who own minor league franchises. As John said early on, I mean, there is that delicate balance between tending to the development of a young particular individual player's needs, and if he's ready to go to the next level and to be challenged, yet he's a key player on a team that's battling for a championship. There's a lot of tension, even in the rooms in Atlanta, as there is, I'm sure, in the ownership suite at the minor league facilities. We just don't do it without any feeling or out any consideration for our minor league affiliates. We do, but at the end of the day, we try to make the best decision for all concerned. Sometimes it's better for the player and his career than it is for the minor league team, and sometimes it's better for the minor league team. It's a balance that we try to strike all the time.
Mr. Robert, how do you handle that same situation?
Well, we can't lose track that we're here for a purpose, and that's to take care of these players while we have them here, and hopefully watch them go up. Where I think a minor league front office has concern is if you're in a playoff and there's someone integral in it that might benefit from 8 or 10 games in Double-A at the end of the question then, is it better to give that player 8 or 10 games at the next level, or let that player go through a playoff that you always learn something about? Last night, if you watched baseball, a lot of those players learned something about a playoff game because they hadn't been in one in 29 years. So there's always something to learn from how to win. I don't think you're born knowing how to win. I think that's a learned experience. I was impressed when I asked some questions of the Braves about their philosophy, because I've been with clubs, their philosophy was totally player development. They would never hit for a pitcher. In a game situation, it wasn't by the book, the way Bobby would manage. It was, we're going to give this kid so many pitches, and regardless of what happens, and that works. But those players never learn how to win. And when they get to the big league level, they got to learn how to win, or they're not going to be successful. So it's like John says, it's a fine balance between what's best for the kid. It's not so much what's best for the minor league team, although we're selfish and would love to have the player. But is it better to let that player spend a couple of weeks at the next level or play in a playoff? What's going to be more beneficial down the road? So that's always a tough question.
Any more questions? All right, at this time we're going to have some time for one-on-ones. If any of you would like to talk with these individuals one-on-one, we'll try to get that set up at this time, and we appreciate everyone coming this afternoon.
Please eat.
And we do have refreshments around, so please help yourself to that as well.